There are 5 mistakes that impact every area of your drumming. They wreck your grooves, they ruin your fills, and they cause physical pain and injury. In this video, I'm going to show you what these mistakes are, why they're holding you back, and I'll give you the simple steps to fixing each one. Mistake number 5 is something I experienced early on a lot, and it holds back so many drummers. If you have a desk job, or maybe you know what it's like to study at a desk or computer for hours on end, and you know how much your back is killing you at the end, right? You wouldn't work at an awkward desk all day, right? You'd get a more ergonomic chair, you'd change the desk height so you can type more comfortably, you'd do something about it. Mistake number 5 has a huge impact on your ability to practice and play effectively. Let me show you what it looks like. A lot of drummers make sure they can reach everything on their kit and their setup is complete, but that's the opposite of the approach you should take. Instead, do this. Take your entire kit apart and put the throne down where you want it to sit. Just sit there, get loose and relaxed, and then figure out where your feet are most comfortable. That's where your pedals go. And this is a huge mistake I help a lot of drummers with. There's a subtle but critical distinction between what's familiar to your body because of bad habits versus what is truly comfortable and natural for your body, but you're not used to it. So when I say find out where your arms are most comfortable and place the snare drum to meet your sticks, you might be doing it wrong still, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. For now, know that you should get your technique correct and super relaxed first, and this will inform you as you tweak your setup. Move your arms around, play an imaginary drum set, and if it's truly comfortable for you to make those motions, you place your drums and cymbals to meet them. I remember spending so much time practicing, but still feeling like I was stuck. And it's the number one thing students come to me for now because they want to improve, but they've been looking in all the wrong places. Let me break it down. It's like trying to build a house without any planning or blueprints. You just start banging nails into boards any old way, putting pieces together randomly. You hammer and pound, working really hard, but the pieces don't fit together properly. After tons of work, your house is a mess. Walls are crooked, the roofs are uneven, and windows are in weird spots. It looks crazy and dysfunctional because you built it through guesswork instead of following a smart plan from the start. Practicing drums is the same. You need a well-designed blueprint up front. Just winging it through aimless practicing won't get you the strong, solid drumming you're going for. So I don't have time to build you the perfect, all-encompassing practice plan in the next 30 seconds, but the guiding light that will fix your problem is this. Think about the house you're building, and then zoom way in. Look at the blueprint of your own drumming and start thinking about the components that make it up. You're building a 3-bed, 2-door bath, but you forgot to build a kitchen. How are you gonna cook up those beats? The biggest practice mistake most drummers make is that they start building too much too fast. So forget about the rest of the house and just build that one room. Work on that one thing you're missing and make sure you build it right from the ground up. So what's the fastest way to get faster on the drums? Is it like training for a marathon? You run a mile a day, then you run 2 miles a day, then you run 5, then you run 10. Surprisingly, the key to playing fast isn't practicing fast licks right away. In music, you can try to run, but you're going to hurt yourself and stumble all the time. You have to walk before you can run, and that much you probably know, but you're probably skipping this part. Before you can walk, you have to take baby steps.
Baby steps?
It means setting small, reasonable goals for yourself, one day at a time.
I literally tell my drum hub students, if you can't play quarter notes perfectly at 40 BPM, why are you trying to play anything else? If you're trying to play grooves, but your hi-hat and kick drum flam half the time, why are you trying to play that groove at all?
All I have to do is take one little step at a time, and I can do anything.
If you skip the basics, it's going to come back to haunt you, which brings us to mistake number 2. And this one technique could be the missing link in your drumming. In fact, I taught a professional drummer recently how to fix it in less than 60 seconds, and she told me afterwards it made a bigger and more immediate difference in her playing than anything she'd been taught before. If you're making this mistake, you're basically running a race with your legs tied together. Yes, potato sack races are hilarious, but that doesn't mean you should be drumming that way. Here's the mistake. Can you spot it? Now, if you're making this mistake, you're adding so much more tension into your hands and arms than you need to, and that means you'll tire out more quickly, your hands are gonna hurt after drumming for just 10 minutes, and you're putting a serious cap on your progress. All that happens when you do this, and I want you to feel the difference with me. Open this gap up so there's this space between your thumb and index finger. Feels more relaxed already, right? Now wrap your index finger around the stick and close the gap again. You feel all that tension in your forearm? Okay, open the gap again. There's a reason I say this in just about every video, so don't forget I told you about this one as we move on to mistake number 1. I've worked with so many drummers, even professional musicians who have been touring for decades while still making this mistake. If you don't fix it, the results are disastrous. Your drumming will sound sloppy, you won't have control over your sticks, your dynamics and groove will suffer, and worst of all, you're going to injure yourself long term. And if you do fix it, you'll play faster, you can drum for longer, and you'll avoid what stops 99% of drummers from making progress. I'd do everything I could to fix it in a heartbeat, wouldn't you? You might think that technique doesn't really matter if you can still play the parts you want to play, but fixing your technique more than anything else enables you to play the drums effortlessly without limitations, so you can have more fun and nail more awesome drum parts than ever before. Everything is built off of the fundamentals, and if you nail the fundamentals, everything becomes 1,000 times easier. So stop skipping this part because you're delaying real progress by doing so. And now that you know which of these mistakes you've been making, you're off to a great start, but you need to implement these fixes correctly or it'll all be for nothing. Knowledge is useless without action, so click below to get my totally free technique guide where I'll teach you to finally master the fundamentals of drumming in just 30 minutes.